Hi guys, it's Amory here from Worcester, Western Cape, South Africa. That has not changed. This is the intro video for the sock knitting tutorial of my favorite vanilla socks. The pattern has been written by Megan Schmaltz of the Unapologetic Knitter. You will find the pattern link in the description box. It is a free Ravelry pattern. I have asked the permission of the designer to use this pattern. I also use this pattern in kits. It is a lovely pattern to use. I know there's a lot of things about what type of technique to use when you are knitting a sock, but to be very honest, I tried toe up. My skill set wasn't at the place where I felt comfortable doing a cast on that I didn't understand and ripping it out every 10 seconds because it's some technique that I didn't understand. I just wanted a pair of socks. So for me as a beginner, the best way to do that, sorry guys, my hair is irritating me. Okay, I'll sort that out now later. The best way for me to start was the old way, the original way, where the cast on is the way my granny used and I could do a ribbing the way I knew how to do it. So what you will need is your pattern. I do suggest that you have this pattern printed out because you end up making notes on it. And everybody at this point in time, most people use their telephones and their tablets and that sort of thing just with an everyday normal pattern. But because this is socks and they do have to fit your feet and in your shoes, it is best for you to, sorry, it's irritating. It is best, I think, my opinion, to print it out. You don't have to, but for me it worked well. So you need your pattern. You also need your needles. And this is the sad part because I will have to rip this out now. I don't know how much irritation I can suppress in one day. I had this entire tutorial done, and then when I actually watched the video, I realized I couldn't actually upload it because I had too much zoomed in, so you could not possibly really see what was going on. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to rip this out and start over, but just to tell you what needles I'm using and to show you the sad fact of where I really am already. The pattern calls for 2.75. Usually I use a 2.5 millimeter needle. Let's just get these off. I'm crying here in my heart, in the depth of my heart. I'm actually crying. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am. Anyway, so I'm using these needles. These are Addi 2.75 Addi lace. I don't like a needle with just with a rounded tip. I prefer my needles with a more, just these are lace tips, so they're not rounded, they're a bit more shaped. Okay, so that's what you need, your needles. Mine is 100 millimeter. You can go a lot shorter. I was just trying one on a 60 millimeter. I'll show you the needles. It's not the same needle, but this is a 60 millimeter. So you can still easily work on this. I don't think I'll go for less than this though. Although 40 will probably work, but I don't know, I tried to work on a 40 and that didn't help at all. So this is a 60. A 50 will probably still work. So this is the cable that you will work with. I will be working on a 100 centimeter one, which is this one. I usually work on one that's 120 because that's what I have and it doesn't bother me, but it might bother you if you're not used to working on circular needles and cables. Okay, so that's the other thing you need, your needles. You will need a scissor. You will need a darning knife. Darning knife. Sorry, it's not a knife. It's a needle, your darning needle. And you will need, the pattern calls for 6 stitch markers. You know what? Honestly, really, I don't know where my mind is right now. 3. It calls for 3 stitch markers. I usually just have 2. I don't find it necessary to have 3, but the pattern says 3. I have 2, and I have 2 of each of a different color. That does help though. If you're going to have 2, just have 2 different colors. Don't have the same one. And then your yarn. This one is one of my own hand-dyed ones, but it's one of those that I dyed up for myself because I had this like amount of yarn left that was under 100 grams, and I just thought, what, you know. But I will do 1 pair of socks with these. My socks are not very long. The amount of yarn will depend on the thickness of the yarn, but also it will depend on how large you want your sock to be. A large, for instance, will take 400 grams. Medium, mine, which is a large is 72 stitches cast on, then 64 stitches cast on is a medium, which is mine, and I have ankle length socks. I furthing that way. See if I don't have a pair of socks in here somewhere. Oh, I showed them to someone. Oh, here we go. So it's an ankle sock, you see. It doesn't go up to my calf. You can just make it a bit longer and go up to your calf, no problem. Okay, but then you will probably, well, not use a full 100 grams if you're at 64, but close to it. 56 stitches is for small, and that will give you more to work with, obviously depending on how long you are making your sock. Also, I'm busy ripping out this one. It's very, very sad, really it is. The weight I'm using here is sock weight. It's a 2-ply really, but it's sock weight, so it's quite thin. It's not as thin, for instance, as a lace weight, but it is thin enough to make proper socks. I use 100% merino superwash. There is, according to my opinion, not really a need for nylon. I think none of our predecessors, somewhere, the first guys who even knitted socks, did not have nylon, and these socks lasted just fine. So honestly, that's my opinion about it. I don't like synthetic, so I'm not going to use a nylon sock unless I'm knitting it for my husband and my sons, who honestly don't take, well, my husband, actually, I wash his socks, so that's okay. My boys, not so much. Anyway, then I also have my darling little tool, row counter. As I said with my pattern, is I worked out how many rows. That's why you would need a measuring tape. That's the other thing I would suggest for your first time. Get a measuring tape, and then the amount of rows you knit to get the cuff, the length that you need. This says a rib for 1.5 inches. You can have a shorter cuff, a longer cuff, whatever you want to, but I would honestly suggest that you take a row counter or just a piece of paper and tick down how many rows you are making for that particular length, so that you will, and then you just write it down on the pattern. For instance, my leg is 20 rows to have the length of my leg. If you want a longer leg, you will do 30 rows. It also depends on the needle size you're using, because I used a 2.5, I think. On the 2.75 needles, I will probably have a longer length to start with. So It all depends on the needle and the yarn you're using, which is why I'm saying just wherever it says the desired length, you will need the measuring tape. If you don't have one, you can buy one in Checkers. They're very cheap. Okay. So this is what you will need. You will need your pattern, you will need your yarn, you will need your needles, a scissor, not a knife, a darning needle, stitch markers, 3 or 2, no matter what, whatever you prefer. And if you can get a row counter of some sort, I love the digital one because I just press on it and do whatever I want to. Then that's what you need. Okay, so this is now a 11, nearly 12 minute upload. I will upload it now. If there are any really stupid things I say, or just make yourself ready for tutorials with a lot of nonsense talked in between, I'm sorry about that, but really sometimes I just don't keep track of everything I say. Any other normal podcaster has a show note thingy, next to them that they sort of watch and tick off as I'm not that normal. I'm not that type of normal, unfortunately. So I hope you join me. I love this sock pattern, as I said many times. I love the way the sock pattern works. I love the way that it's cuffed down. It starts really easy, so that makes it a positive thing. It's heel flap and gusset, so it's not an afterthought heel or anything different or new to what has been done over the years by many people. The only different thing is you are working with a circular needle and you are doing the magic loop method. That's what's different. Yeah, anyway, and the 9-inch needle, for the same pattern, the 9-inch needle one tutorial, I will put down a link below in the description box as well if you want to try that. Other than that, there is on the pattern, it explains what you would do if you are going to use DPNs. It actually says on the pattern if you want to use DPNs, what to do. I didn't understand a word what they were saying, and I don't work with DPNs. Okay, bye guys, see you as soon as I've done the video for the actual the sock, the cuff. Bye.